Hi there, welcome back. You're with Terry from Bonsai Tree, and today I'm going to be working on this collected wild olive. If you find the following content helpful, then you can thank me by clicking the thanks button just below the video. This is the largest wild olive in my collection, certainly the heaviest anyway. Maybe not the tallest vertically, but anyway, it was collected many years ago. Sorry, I'm really in the bushes here, these long branches. It's been featured on my channel a couple of times before, repotting it and I think working on structural work. I featured that in videos before. Don't fall into the trap of always wanting to keep your trees looking thoroughly groomed, if I can put it that way. It is a good idea to allow them, especially when you're developing structural portions. I'm talking about trees that are still very much in development, which this tree is. So what we're looking for is a lot of growth, which will give us good taper from the stumps of the branches that are on the tree, on the trunk, and to give us that taper. And so what you're looking for there is a lot of growth that'll aid that thickening. Olives don't really callus over wonderfully. I mean, it certainly takes them a long time. Smaller branches, smaller cuts can easily be covered over, but very large ones do present a bit of a challenge. So you normally would carve those or hide them, or both. This tree has had some carving work done to it already. But today what my plan is just to clean out remove the suckering growth on the trunk, which olives are prone to doing. So first, clean out the tree. Remove superfluous branches, make choices there, pruning choices, and then also look at the extensions if they should be, if they can be cut back. Obvious branches to be removed are those that are growing down. Other branches which should be removed are those that are growing straight up. When you have a branch like this one, which has transitioned from this thick portion here into this portion, then it was pruned again, and now this is growing out from it. This is now definitely thick enough and can be pruned back. Now, olives do bud back quite easily. I mean, they sucker obviously on old wood, but that's not predictable. But certainly on branches, new branchlets or new buds will develop at dormant nodes. So if there was ever a leaf somewhere along here, then you will get back budding. So you can either prune to this point, and then you will get budding from here, from this area, but you more than likely will get budding further back. You can either prune like I've just shown you, or otherwise you can prune further back because you might only get shoots developing here. So then that would be a waste of some time, because then you're going to prune that off, waste of energy or waste of resources of the tree and time, because this is too long. You would want to bring this back further to this, say, beyond this point, and now you can allow something to develop along here. What I also want to mention is that olive wood is extremely hard, so be very careful with the choice of tools that you use to make sure that your the tool is strong enough to cut that portion of material that you're wanting to or needing to cut. And that generally, or a general rule, is a portion of the branch cutter, in this case, which is what I used for this cut. And then I make the cut towards the back of the tool, not towards the tip. If you're going to do this, you have a very good chance of bending the tool, and it's not going to meet up properly anymore. So rather cut towards the back of the tool when you're making that first cut. Use the front of the tool if you're wanting just to shape the cut or take off thin material. That's fine. I've now finished cleaning out the tree and pruning the branches, selecting those that I didn't want to keep any longer or that weren't going to contribute towards the design, and then also pruning back branches that were thick enough to be pruned. And then, as you can see, I've also left some of these whips as well because these ones still need to thicken up a little bit more. When you are making these cuts, leave a stub on the branch if you're going to wire, because if you cut all the way down flush with the branch and you apply wire, that is going to be a weak point if the bend that you apply using the wire is on that cut point. It's going to snap there. As I've now cleaned out the tree, it's going to make it a lot easier to apply the wire. I'm going to be using aluminium wire because it's softer than copper. Olives have a very thin bark on the young branches, and it's very easily scraped off when you apply the wire, so be careful of that. Sometimes when you have a branch like this that needs to be brought down, and it's a fairly heavy branch, rather than applying the wire and then bending the branch down, you can start bending the branch into position when you're applying the wire. If you wait until the wire has been applied and then bend it down, what you sometimes find is that there will be a gap that develops between the wire and the branch, and then it's not really able to hold the branch very well in the position that you've bent it into. So bend the branch down with your fingers and apply the wire, or twist the wire onto the branch in that position, and then make finer adjustments afterwards. I want to talk a little bit about the apical area here. Ultimately, you're ending up with a very rounded crown. What I'm busy doing now is I'm building the structure, the scaffolding. You need to get a fairly even distribution of these structural branches. The tendency is to want to make it look good now. What I'm busy doing here is I'm using the branches that I have available to me at this point in time to start building this network of branches that one can utilize to then build on secondary branching, tertiary branches, and finally just the little fine little twigs. And this is going to result in a dense canopy eventually, but you do need to use some imagination. If you found that content helpful and you'd like to thank me for it, please do so now by clicking the thanks button just below the video. So I've now finished wiring the branches, and I'm now just going to finish off. What I'll do is just remove the moss physically that I can from the trunk. You can spray the trunk also with some undiluted vinegar, and that will kill any moss that's growing on it as well. That brings me to the end of today's video. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I hope that you've picked up a couple of tips that you can use on your own olives. This tree will now go back outside, and I'll continue fertilizing, watering it, and probably again work on it in April. Sorry, not April. I'll probably work on the tree again in autumn when the wire is starting to bite in. The tree is actively growing now, so probably only a few weeks before I need to remove the wire. So thanks very much for joining me. Until next time, take care and goodbye.